Hi, hey, hello YouTube. It is me again, Jessie. So, same girl who had blonde hair and red hair and gray hair previously, but now I've just changed it up to have black hair now. So today I am here to talk to you guys a little bit about upward mobility at private schools in China. And unfortunately, as it is Chinese New Year, and because it is Chinese New Year, that means no one is in town. There are lots of fireworks going off. If you hear any loud bomb-like noises, it's probably those fireworks. That means it is pretty difficult to record outside. And sorry, I got a dog and she's playing beneath my feet because she wants attention. Anyway, it's Chinese New Year, so it's not the simplest thing to record outside in China, like I normally do. So, like I said, today I'm here to talk to you guys in the comfort of my own home about upward mobility at private schools. So when you're trying to decide whether or not you should go to a private school or a public school for your excursion to China, as you will, a good thing to consider is what your objectives are in doing that, why you're doing that, and how is that going to help you in the future, right? Because some people might want to continue to be teachers and some people might not. Maybe it's just a traveling thing, maybe it's a resume booster, it's a gap year, everybody comes out here for their own reasons, and no shame to you for whatever reason you decided to come out here for. For me, it was a little bit of everything. So when you're considering why you're coming out here and what your intentions are and how that might help you in the future, a good thing to consider is what does your upward mobility look like in these particular job roles. So for me, I work at a private school. If you didn't know that by now, I work at a private school here in Fuzhou, China, in the Fujian province. And one of the best parts about it is that, so since it's a business, right, it has lots of working parts. You can't just have like a business, like a private school, or like technically they're called training schools, that functions with just teaching staff. There has to be advertising, there has to be accounting, there has to be like a legal team, there's all sorts of things that go into making that one part work. And so the good and the bad about that is that yes, you are working for a business, so sometimes they'll add a new app, or they will, like app as in like something you buy from the App Store, or they'll institute things maybe that you don't agree with, but one of the benefits of it is that there's lots of different departments within that business. And within those different departments, there are jobs, right? So some of them are available to foreigners or Westerners, the Western staff, and some of those are available to the Chinese staff only. It just sort of depends on what job role you're doing. So for example, the accounting department might have a heavier load of Chinese staff in it because accounting in China is pretty particular. And even if I had gone to school for finance and accounting, I would not be prepared to be an accountant in China. I went to school to be an accountant in America, if that hypothetical was true, right? And so depending on the department, there is upward mobility outside of the teaching department. There is also upward mobility inside of the teaching department itself. So I'll give you both examples of that. So one example would be probably the most organic example for what you're looking at as a teacher is going to be upward mobility in the teaching department. So there is upward mobility into curriculum development, the pretty selective upward mobility, but it's there. There is upward mobility into a management position and upward mobility into a senior teaching / assistant management position. So, for example, the next step up from being just like a normal member of the teaching staff would be senior teaching. So a senior teacher's job role is essentially to do some of the basic logistics stuff like ordering tests or conducting demos or workshops or training new teachers. And also a big part of their role is supporting the academic coordinator or the branch manager and also supporting the staff within the school. So that means making sure TA-teacher communication is good. Maybe if you have a new teacher that needs some additional training or they're still struggling a little bit after their first few weeks here, or they're feeling emotional or whatever it may be that they're struggling with, part of the senior teaching job role is to help them with those things. And so that is one of the upward mobility positions. You would conduct training, you would write workshops, you would write our extra activities, which we do as like sort of promotions during holidays. You sort of liaise between the AC as the good cop and with the teaching staff, not the senior teaching staff, and you work together with your other senior teacher in a branch. So how the branches work with us in particular is you'll have 2 senior teachers, 1 AC, a principal, 2 senior TAs, and a TAC, which is essentially the manager of the TAs. And so the senior teacher is sort of the experienced member of the staff. There are not every senior teacher is more experienced than their teaching staff, but they're a more experienced teacher, generally speaking, who conducts training and emotionally supports the staff as best they can. Or in the case that they cannot, sort of provide the emotional support that you might need, or whatever the case may be, they can sort of direct you to the areas you need to go, whether it might be going to the doctor, going to a Western clinic to get some medication should you need that, sort of those sorts of things. Their job is sort of just to make things a little bit easier for everybody in the office, and to sort of be the good cop to say, hey, you're out of dress code today, or hey, you're sort of off task in the office. Could you change that, right? And so that's the senior teacher's role. They're the good cop to the bad cop, emotional support, and basic administrative staff. Then the next step up from senior teaching would be the AC, or the academic coordinator. Your academic coordinator is your branch manager, right? And so they have a lower class load, as do senior teachers. Senior teachers are on ideally 4 classes and do a lot of cover. ACs are on ideally 1 class. Of course, this can change depending on the branch or what's going on at the branch. The AC is responsible for managing things. So, of course, timetables, making sure everybody's coming to work on time, conducting observations, conducting QRs, giving feedback or warnings as they might be needed. And also a big part of the academic coordinator role, besides managing staff and besides teaching, is doing the business side of things, right? So making sure that the branch is meeting continuation rates, making sure that the branch is meeting targets, making sure you have the right number of students coming in at the end of the year, and what strategies you're going to do to sort of make sure the business part of things is getting taken care of. So other than just taking care of the teaching side of things and the staff side of things, there is some logistics in the business part of it as well. And one of the benefits that comes at private school, whether it's your experience in teaching or your experience in managing, is that there is a sort of salary threshold. So if you have management experience, maybe at a restaurant or in some other context, I don't know what your business is, but if you have managing experience in a different job role, it can actually put you up in a higher tier of pay when you start that salary. And of course, we're always curious about salaries. Senior teachers are paid a salary that's 1,000 quite higher than the salary you are currently sitting at, whichever that might be, which might be higher or lower depending on your teaching experience or your time within the company. And ACs make it more money than that, which I will not disclose here. That'll have to be up to you to figure out. ACs do make more money than the teaching staff, but of course they're in a management position. There is a lot of time spent in the office and a lot of time spent outside of work, so you sort of, it's a way of, you've got to measure your pros and cons when going for those positions, because they are higher stress. A lot of teachers who want to teach but also want some managing experience think that the senior teacher is the ideal role. If you're looking for more management experience, AC is a great role as well. So now that we've looked at the teaching side of things, what about the upward mobility in the non-teaching side of things? So there are a few roles. There, for one example, is within social media. So they're about to open a job role in content creation at my company, and I will be applying for that role. We'll see how it goes. Where essentially it would be replacing the video production role, so the person who is sort of creating YouTube videos for the company, they will be leaving, and this will be sort of a conglomerate of photography, blog posts, YouTube videos, assisting basically and creating consistent content for the social media manager to use, or curating content from other teachers or members of staff on the ground. This role is open to both Chinese and foreign staff. So as you can see, sometimes where it might be an AC and it's only open to foreign staff, sometimes with content creation or jobs that are within head office, those jobs are open to Chinese staff as well. And so a lot of times the jobs that are open in other offices, so at head office rather than at a branch where you'd be teaching or managing teachers, those job roles are either sort of built over time, like you have experience and you sort of work your way up, or they're also open to other members of staff. So some of the other options for upward mobility are curriculum development, so that's sort of the education staff, where they are writing your summer and winter courses, or they are writing your scaffolded lesson plans. So our lesson plans at my company are scaffolded. You don't write everything, you sort of, depending on the class, sometimes you do, but you follow a guide and fill in what you're going to do from there. And those are the people who write those. They choose our books, they choose what we're going to be teaching, they choose our sort of modus operandi of teaching, and if you want to, there are a few, they're far less than in the teaching staff. there are a few job roles that are open for curriculum development, particularly if you have experience in doing that. There are some other job roles as well, and one great thing that you can do at my company, or at a private school in particular, but I can't speak to others, I can just speak to my company, is that if you have a job role you think could really benefit the company that doesn't exist, you can propose it to the president of the company. And so basically you would write a proposal, you would create what you would need to do and present it to members of the finance department, the president of the company, etc. And then potentially you could have that job that you foresee doing or foresee being beneficial to the company open up. Additionally, there are opportunities for professional development, whether it be going back to school or getting a CELTA or things like that, that could help you move up into those more competitive jobs like curriculum development. And if you can prove your case about how that would be valuable to the company, then they will potentially pay for that as well. So for those of you who want to pursue ESL as a long-term thing and get additional certifications, there is some great upward mobility for you to build curriculum development experience in case you want to freelance one day, or to get that additional training and not have to have it come out of pocket or all come out of pocket. Of course, these jobs, as far as their availability, is dependent on who is coming and going, and whether or not those people who are going end up working, outside of the office. There is remotely, if they end up working remotely, right? So maybe somebody goes back to the UK, but they still can do their job in the UK. Or with ACs and senior teachers, it's just whoever's leaving. So it really depends on the job role, but those options are there, and they're really great to sort of help you ground yourself in a career versus just having a gap year. So that's just one option to consider, or a thing to consider when you choose between a public and private school. So if you have any questions, I know that was probably quite a lot of information, and to give you anything else would be quite a lot to digest. Please leave them in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer them. And so until next time, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the rest of Teach English in China's videos. Again, leave any questions, comments, concerns down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.